Okay, I think we can actually get started. I think we can actually, yeah, we can actually get started. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Sorry. Golly. Just right as I was starting up, for some reason, the little device that allows me to mute and unmute my mic decided to, what's the best? To piss off. It just decided to piss off. I'm not sure. It was just both piss me off and piss off in general. It just decided to head for the hills. And off we went. So, hi, welcome to the show. It's HAL SPARKS MEGAWORLDWIDE. It's Thursday, and we start a little later on Thursday because I have family FaceTime, and it went spectacularly. I want you to know that. It was a good time. I was cooking during almost the entire thing. It was a good time. Anyways, the Republicans are getting to me. Nope, we're all good. Lots to cover today, not the least of which, of course, is Trump's fantastic trip to a McDonald's. That's right. And then, of course, the mess himself has video evidence of something that he's going to share with us that is going to change everything we've said about this, everything we've said so far. So all the stuff we're like, we know what's going on, and we gotcha. He's found a piece of video that he's going to show us that apparently flips the script, kiddo. I'm sorry. This is the day. It had to come sooner or later where we find out that I've been wrong this whole time. I can't wait, actually. It's kind of like in Rocky 3, just I feel like I've been I've been punching bums this whole time and I haven't really had a contender, but finally the mess is stepping up. I don't think the video is of Gay Month, but I am not ruling it out. In general, it's a possibility, ladies and gentlemen, that at some point we may take a gay tour into Gay Month. And then, of course, this one okay, we're going to start tonight with a video that I am of formerly two minds about. Formerly two minds, now just one mind, if a mind at all. Hard to even say. A video that I have to say, when it crossed the streams, it's not good. When it came across the wire, I'm hesitant about it because it is, well, here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Diamond and Silk minus Diamond. Silk is now doing the show with a picture of Diamond. And some dude in front of a warped American flag brick backdrop that he didn't bother to weight down the corners of it. So it's, I don't know, maybe he's under some rubble in Turkey. There was a patriotic expat who painted his room this way, and this guy's just broadcasting straight from there. But yeah, I wasn't even sure I could do this one, kids. I don't. But here it is. She's posting it, and here we are. And holy fuck. And by the way, the title is, "If the shoe was on the other foot, we know Democrats would have burned the Capitol down." If we would have... I presume this is just the most extreme case of Jan 6 whataboutism, whataburgerism that they could possibly come up with. I'm guessing. But either way, we're down to 2.5 eggs and this guy. And I don't know. I mean, I guess you got to get back on the horse sometime. But if I bail out of this because this is just fucked up, you'll understand. Oh, and she's got her sound turned.
They try to offer you a plea deal?
Okay, so he's a Jan 6er. They tried to offer you a plea deal? They never do that with violent criminals. That's weird. Why'd they start with you?
Yes. As soon as I got went and got arrested, had to go to...
As soon as I went and got arrested, I went down to the arrest store and tried something on. You got anything in in an orange jumpsuit, Doc written on the back?
The U.S. Marshals and got released. I got appointed a public defender.
You got a full release from the U.S. Marshals. Good for you. I'm sure Lindsey Graham can download that.
And the public defender just glanced at the paperwork. Of course, I'm a country boy. I always wear camo. Now, if you look at my Twitter, you'll see that I have a camo computer. I love...
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah. You have... Why would you have a camo computer? What if you decide to go out into the woods to write the great American patriotic action, the sequel to the Turner Diaries, as it were, and you drop your computer in the bushes? Fuck, where's my laptop? I know, my kid will find it. He finds everything. Oh shit, I dressed him in camo too. Fuck, I lost my son.
Camo. But she said because the camo makes me look guilty, so I might as well take the plea deal. And they offered me 6 months.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the outfit.
In prison, and I think like 2 years probation, and then like a $500 fine or something like that. And when I was talking to my wife about it, that what kind of message is that going to send to my kids if I accept something and admit guilt when I didn't do anything wrong?
Well, that's the rub, isn't it? Because you did do something wrong.
Well, it'll be given.
And this is considered a misdemeanor, right?
Yes.
This is not considered a felony, right?
No.
Did you do...
Wait, is she his public defender? Is she going through the case right now?
Any time in jail?
I was in there for about, I believe, 9 hours. It wasn't long.
Let me write that down. 9 hours. Let's see. Divided by 5 eggs. 2 eggs a day divided by 9 hours. Carry the egg. That's almost 1 egg.
But I was in Kansas City, U.S. Marshal's office, and holding cell down there. And from there, that I was lucky, I was fortunate, unlike so many others that got, have been in there since the beginning. I was fortunate, but
you were fortunate that you didn't try to curb stomp a cop. That what you were up against charge-wise, they were letting people off. In normal circumstances, if you were alone and you did any of the shit this guy did, he'd be in fucking jail for 2 years, period.
Now that I took it to trial, I was found guilty, Right now, I'm looking at 2 years in prison time.
So you're telling me that whole plea deal thing that your public defender, who apparently could tell by your clothing that you were fucked, you should have taken that deal, huh? I guess you owe that person an apology. Sorry, hold on.
I'm looking at
Okay,
20
so
years.
you was found.
Yes, I'm salivating at the idea. Oh, God. Oh, 2 years in prison, my God.
You was found guilty of what they charged you for, right?
Yes.
Parading.
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually what that means. See, you're usually only sentenced to the maximum, in this case, 2 years, if you're found guilty of the thing you're in court about. But what do I know? You're his attorney.
And demonstrating something that the Constitution allows you to do.
No, no, it does not. You don't get to no. I'm not burglarizing this home. I am protesting these people's giant big screen TV and their silverware. This is a protest against how much money these people should be allowed to have according to me. This is, Your Honor, I don't think it's not that I'm not taking this. You think I want a TV this big to go with that Xbox that's in my bag? No, I'm protesting. People's TVs are too big. This is a protest. What do we want? Smaller TVs. When do we want them? Now. What the?
At the people's house.
No, motherfucker, in trespassing past cops that were beaten so that he could get in there.
There's a fraudulent election.
Nope.
Or when you see China about to take over your country.
I don't know, maybe get a rowboat and give them what for? How China's about to take over our country? How's that? Oh, I know. By inserting Joe Biden, who will do their asking, which of course is apparently decimate their technological industry and send them back to the late 50s.
Okay, that's
all right.
Something that as American citizens, we have the right to do.
No. You have the right to protest, but it's the what you think. All right. Let's say I feel really strongly about blood drives and that people are not giving enough blood or the government is not funding the Red Cross enough. So I decide to protest the lack of available blood plasma in hospitals by attacking people with a meat cleaver and exposing the blood in their body to the great outdoors. Now, while the subject that I may be protesting might be well within my rights, how I chose to carry out said protest is a fucking crime. Beyond the fact that it's immoral.
Constitutional. Yeah. Okay? And
don't nod, sir. No. You should have listened to your public defender. They weren't fucking you around. They were trying to help you, dumbass. And now you're seeking out silk?
And then they got you for trespassing.
How'd they do that? In his own house? How they go into his own house and arrest him for trespassing a couple weeks ago? But that's not is he trespassing right now? No. You can't trespass in your house. As a matter of fact, the very fact that you can't call me a murderer. The murder already happened. Okay? Am I murdering someone right now? I'm eating chicken strips. I'm having macaroni and cheese. I'm not a murderer. It only happens when you're murdering. And I don't even remember that murder. God, can you at least let me finish my... No, I can't. Can you give me a doggy bag? I love how she thinks that because she agrees with your complaint, however you seek a remedy is completely legal.
All right.
Why is Diamond's picture sitting there? To creep us all the fuck out. Chat room. Somebody's asking in the chat. That's why. This is messed up.
So they found you guilty for trespassing.
Yeah. You know why? Because he was.
At the People's House, where our American tax dollars pay for the People's House.
Yeah, but it's not like a flop. It's not, you don't get squatters' rights. I don't get to go in there and go like, I got some business to do. I'm going to just use one of the offices. It's the People's House, right? My tax dollars. I mean, everybody's tax dollars paid for this place. Everybody's for a couple hundred years, as a matter of fact. And, but since it's the People's House and I'm one of the people, I'm going to commandeer the space and use it as a fucking playground.
But
I'll
say it again and keep saying it till I'm blue in the face.
That's not with Diamond's picture right there. That's a weird thing to say.
You have these illegal aliens trespassing in America House, walking our streets, all right?
All right.
And they won't even stop them and arrest them.
Yeah, they do.
But you want to arrest American citizens for following the Constitution.
No, not following the Constitution. No. No. The right to trespass, the right to interrupt the process of democracy just because you don't like the outcome, that's not in there. Cite the Constitution, kiddo. Please tell me what part the fuck you're talking about.
Okay? Y'all hear what I'm saying now?
Yes, but we don't understand it. We're capable. The words are leaving your face. The words are traveling in our general direction. Now they are floating around in a bizarre cloud of nonsense, but we are doing our best over here. Me, the chat room, everybody. We're doing our best to kind of help massage them into coherent thought based on what we kind of think you are actually trying to say. And we got nothing. What?
For following the Constitution. So
No, following the Constitution would be you voted, motherfucker. Write it out to the next one.
that means that lets me know what do we have here in this regime. What is it?
Regime? You mean administration?
Truly. For
Truly.
them not to even allow people due process. Okay? Or even.
Okay, asshole. This comes up a lot. She's not the first person. She's parroting this term. For the record, did we not just have this guy, this dude right here, walk us through his due process? He was arrested. They held on him for 9 hours, and then they provided him with a court-appointed lawyer who, for the record, gave him good advice, which he did not take. And now he, after being found guilty in a trial, is going to jail. That's all the process you are due, you dumb motherfucker.
Even follow the Constitution. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you, if the shoe was on the other foot,
Yes.
the Democrats, they probably would have burned the Capitol building right on down. And y'all know it.
Amen.
Y'all know.
Were these assholes, amen, were these assholes alive during the Bush administration? Did they see what happened in D.C. when Trump was elected in the first place?
Oh, I'm telling the truth.
It's a march. Yeah, they would have. We haven't. You guys tried to kill cops. You were there to murder people. But, you know, there's nothing special about it. Anybody would react that way. Anybody stupid.
Because we've seen them do a lot of parading and demonstration up in the Capitol.
Yeah, people in wheelchairs, doing a roll-in and a sit-in in congressional offices because the ADA is not going to get, like, re-upped. It's kind of different than walking through the Capitol with a Confederate flag, Silk. That you do recognize that if the guy who got in there, the maggot with the Confederate flag, got everything he wanted, neither of these two would have any rights at all. None. None. That's the whole video, by the way. And I don't know how much of a bigger slice we can fucking handle from that shit. Don't forget to smash that like. Look at that. Ba-doink. I'm just doing that to drive people crazy. Give a thumbs up, support the show. It's HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. You know it. You love it. You want to support it. You're that kind of people. You're a good person. You are. You just, you only want to help it a little bit. And that's okay. Just, that's fine. And believe me, you already are. Your eyeballs are here. Your ear holes are here. You are enjoying, I hope, the show as I fearlessly take on the ridiculous talking points that these dipshits tee up. Not the least of which, let's go to next up. Oh, that's the mess's neck. Ooh, that's unfortunate. Maybe we need to move that down there. The mess is very happy because he's going to show us, again, like I said earlier, obviously the game is up. It's the last episode. I'm folding up my tent. Clearly, everything we know about January 6th is a fraud. I thought it was actually Trump supporters trying to stop the counting of the Electoral College so that they could put in fake electors so that Trump could remain I guess I was wrong. That apparently today's the day I find out just how wrong I am. A video of Nancy Pelosi's daughter confirms the truth about Jan 6. Video of Nancy Pelosi's daughter confirms the truth about Jan 6. The truth about Jan 6. The truth. What could it be?
There are two rival narratives about January 6th.
That's right. One, that it was an attempt by the president and his followers to overthrow the government, and that the assholes that tried to pull it off from the president to his entire, war room circle were such incompetent, lazy, stupid fucks that they totally, I guess they thought the country would be a pushover. It'd be easy. It's interesting that it's a lot of traits they share with Vladimir Putin, oddly. And then the other one is Ray Epps started it. That's what it was. They didn't want to go. They were just there. All they wanted was an elephant ear and to buy a MAGA hat. And some guy whispered in their ear, and they're like, must kill cops, must beat cop, must spray cop with mace. Yeah, something like that. Is that the two?
And these narratives are so different.
They are. They're very, what are they?
That you not only have to scratch your head and ask, how could two such opposite accounts have developed? But how are they so energetically sustained by the two sides?
Oh, I see. One is reality and the other is a group of lunatics and losers who, after their failed attempt, are a mix of trying to blame someone else while at the same time saying what they did was justified, and that's fucking insane. So they energetically have to yammer on about it while the rest of us are going, these motherfuckers were like the shittiest revolutionaries ever, but that's what they were trying to do.
Only one of them can be correct.
Uh-oh. When a mommy revolution and a daddy revolution love each other very much.
The issue, of course, is whether January 6th was really an insurrection. Yes or no?
Well, it's not a yes or no question. Was it an attempted insurrection? Absolutely. Was it an actual insurrection? No, because Donald Trump is a lifelong fuck-up with no interpersonal skills at all, and his followers are a bunch of lunatics, and they were doomed to fail because they were, huffing their own farts and thought Trump would be the magic king, and all he'd have to do is wave his hand and the Capitol would part open and they would be taken to the promised land of a Donald Trump-run dictatorship.
As you know, I don't think it was. I have ridiculed the idea that it is. I think I'm in that.
Yes, he's ridiculed it. And if you've been ridiculed by the mess, there's no coming back.
Sense in the Republican mainstream.
Uh-huh.
But the rival narrative is that look for yourself. Look at all the fellows trying to break into the Capitol, smashing glass. Look at the skirmishes between the police and the protesters. It was very definitely an insurrection.
Right, yeah. Unless you're about to tell us that Ashley Babbitt died a sucker. Please continue.
And again, this view is doggedly maintained. It is consistently upheld by the mainstream media. Every Democrat is singing out of this choir book. So who's right?
Well, again, it goes to whether it was an attempted insurrection. It can be an attempted insurrection and a failed insurrection. Was it an insurrection? Well, no. I guess technically it failed. Therefore, it was really just a bunch of violent flailing by a bunch of narcissistic sociopaths and cult members.
How do you arbitrate between these two narratives? Well,
I have reasonable discussions with people that understand that MAGAts attacked the Capitol and had a violent plan to overthrow the government and built a fucking gallows so they could murder any number of Democrats and Republicans in the place. And I have, conversations about that. They can get, wound up when we discuss it. And then I have the middle finger for anybody who thinks otherwise, because they're intentionally being stupid.
One clue is you look to see what the other side says privately.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting if privately, if people had, let's say, access to Debbie and my conversations and
oh God. If any of us ever need to lose an erection fast, I'm sure audio tapes of that would help.
Privately, we said things like, "Oh,
his audio is loud. Beg your pardon. I will bring it down a bit. Apologies. How about that?
it really was an insurrection, Debbie." Of course, we can't say that on the podcast. So that would, if somebody could get a recording of me saying that, then it would show that I know it was an insurrection, but I'm just publicly denying it because, of course, I'm not an honest person.
Also, that doesn't, whether you say it was or not, does not mean you know. You would have to be one of the participants to have that level of duplicity. What he's talking about is straight up PR, lying to his audience to tell them a story versus what he says in reality. Now, he could be, quite frankly, in his conversations with Debbie, so condescendingly prickish with his own wife that he thinks she really believes this, and it benefits me long term if people think I do too. So anytime I have a conversation with her, I play along. It's not genuine, but who gives a fuck?
But conversely, if we can get video showing that the other side privately admits that it wasn't an insurrection, that...
Okay, first of all, the other side privately admitting, again, an opinion. I don't know what he's going to show. We'll find out. Maybe it'll flip the whole thing over. Maybe I'm willing to walk straight into this rake. But I'm guessing that the victim in a lot of cases of an attempted murder, if you ask them if they were murdered, will say no. But if you ask them was it an attempt at murdering them, they will say yes.
That would be very telling, wouldn't it? And as it turns out, we do have that video.
Excellent. Play it. Let's roll. Excellent. Here we go. Video evidence fuck me, here it goes.
And who is it from? It's from Nancy Pelosi's daughter.
Oh my God, that's so interesting.
Nancy Pelosi's daughter, Alexandra Pelosi, was making a documentary. Now, it's very interesting because, first of all, she seems to have known that January 6th would be a huge deal.
Yes, because her mother was speaker and was presiding over the transition from Trump to Biden. The America had spoken, successfully bounced this motherfucker after she had torn up his speech right behind him at the State of the Union and had utter contempt for him. Her daughter thought, you know, the day we got rid of this motherfucker might actually be worth documenting, considering, you know, as the first female and one of the longest serving speakers and the most successful, maybe my mother's life is worth documenting. And this day in particular, where she gavels that shit in, would be pretty valuable. You think? Also, at this day and age, you're surprised when people are documenting anything at that level? We live in Instagram world. People document their goddamn lunch every day.
She had a film crew. She was filming Nancy Pelosi, her mom, even before the events of January 6th.
Right. And so one might come to the conclusion therein that she wouldn't skip the day her mother presides over handing the gavel to the vice president as he gavels out his own fucking administration. Yes, it was part of a greater documentary. By the way, you might be shocked to know this, Dinesh. She continued to film her mother after the 6th. That's right. All the way up and beyond Joe's inauguration. Yeah. It'd be interesting if, for some reason, Alexandra Pelosi just decided, I'm going to do January 6th, the documentary. Nah, Mom, we don't need any shooting beforehand, none after. It's just about today. And as a matter of fact, really, I'm only concerned with about 8:30 a.m. till about 4:45 at night. Maybe 8 o'clock, depending on if I even want to bother with the actual stuff that went on to it. I don't, Mom, I'm here to film a documentary about you. I only need about this much time.
And all of this by itself raises the question, how was she so sure that this would become some kind of historic day?
Because it's her fucking mom. It raises the question, why do Democrats give a shit about their parents? What is this whole thing? Like, first, Biden is leaving his son messages saying he loves him when he's at the height of addiction. Next, Alexandra Pelosi is filming her mom on a big day. Motherfucker, this is so lame.
Now, more importantly...
More important than not at all?
She did interviews with some of the January 6th defendants. This was subsequently, obviously, after these guys were being called out, and she ingratiated herself with them, and she said, I want to record you, and some of them agreed to interviews. But one of these defendants said...
By the way, she didn't have their number beforehand? No? She didn't... Because I thought she was didn't she help coordinate it then? Isn't that what we're learning? Is that Alexandra Pelosi pulled off this whole thing just to cover for the attack that would happen later to her dad?
Said, listen, I don't mind being interviewed by you, but I'm also going to record what you say. Is that okay? And she said, sure, you can.
Which is what criminals do. Sure, go ahead. Now I have to warn you, I'm a vampire, and I won't show up on video. Yeah, you did. No, I don't. It's right here on my phone. I am a vampire.
Do that. And so the recording I'm now referring to is provided by a January 6th defendant.
Fabulous. Let's see.
Who recorded Pelosi. So Pelosi is on video, and
Yeah, there you got it. She's on video. Let's see.
Recording has been affirmed both by the person who took it and by this person's lawyer as authentic.
Okay.
And what you see in it is that Alexandra Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, is very clear that this was not an insurrection. This was.
Well, you don't have to tell me. Play the video. I'll judge for myself. I think we're all capable of doing that. Roll tape.
Not an attempt to overthrow the government. In fact, she herself not only ridicules that idea, but minimizes or basically goes, what these people are doing is nothing. It's no big deal. And all of this is fraud.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're paraphrasing and you're kind of, you're kind of characterizing what happened in the video, but I'd like to see it. I think we'd all like to see it, to see if what you're saying and what you're saying she's saying matches up. It's, just so roll the tape.
From Nancy Pelosi's own daughter coming out of her own mouth. And
great. Yeah, let's hear it. Own daughter, own mouth, on video. It's probably just a shot of her mouth. Let's see it.
In her own voice.
All right, as opposed to that really funny voice she likes to go, I don't believe it's a wax sound.
Now,
I love it when it's one of my favorite Alexandra Pelosi characters.
Now, the video itself is somewhat long, and I don't want to go through the entire transcript. I'm just going to read.
Transcript. You're going to read a transcript of a video.
Some of the lines. These are lines out of Alexandra Pelosi's mouth.
Oh, I see. You mean, in other words, out of context.
She's talking about the shaman guy.
Uh-huh. Who we all thought was an asshole.
And here's what she says. The shaman did nothing. What did the shaman do? He stood there. So, in other words, what kind of insurrectionist is just standing there, basically doing nothing, making no effort to take over the government?
He stood there in the actual place where the votes are counted, where holding he thought there were other people coming to make this happen. It didn't happen. And he ended up fucking off. All right. But I'm sure it seemed, well, I can't tell you. I mean, because we're not seeing video. We're seeing his reading of it.
Here's Nancy Pelosi continuing.
Yeah, was there anything in between? Any words in between that and this? Or just, you know what? I feel like I'm right there. I feel like I might as well be watching Nancy Pelosi.
Are the Proud Boys white supremacists? She goes, I'm friends with Gavin McInnes, the founder of the Proud Boys. When someone talks about the Proud Boys, they say, well, white supremacists. She laughs as if, ha ha ha, what a ridiculous concept.
Was that her? That's a pretty good Alexandra Pelosi. Ha 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 ha. Does she do that? Did she learn how to laugh at swashbuckling school? Ha 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 ha. Does she slap her thigh? Ha 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 ha. Sling.
She then says to the January 6th defendant, you're
apropos of nothing, by the way. She jumps straight from Gavin McInnes is a friend of mine to
going to be able to laugh about this one day. And then she goes on to say, if there was an insurrection, you were supposed to have a plan. This was the sorriest insurrection in history. Honey, this
is what you say all the time. Whenever I take my penis, you go, this is the sorriest insufficient erection I've ever seen.
This is exactly what you say.
Yeah, you see my erection, you go, this is insufficient.
Well, if this was an insurrection, it's the most incompetently planned, poorly executed insurrection ever. And
yes, but that would still make it an attempted insurrection. And by the way, this has been my point the entire time. Thank God, and I think this is a good moment. Let's all take a moment to count our lucky stars, to thank our lucky stars. We'll count them later. We'll count sheep, and then we'll thank our lucky stars. We'll thank them that January 6th was attempted by the biggest bunch of assholes, losers, and incompetents ever to form an attempted coup of any country on the face of the earth. And it's hilarious, and it was doomed to fail because Trump is a moron.
Nancy Pelosi's daughter knows that. So she's laughing it off, meaning this is not.
She's also trying to get these people to open up in this interview. That's abundantly clear. Yeah, film me. Oh, yeah, I'm not good. Okay, yeah, keep talking. What's she supposed to do? Slap him in the face? Tell me what you were doing there that day. Where's the other horn, asshole? Where is it? He doesn't really eat organic, does he? Like, he even says at the beginning, she's ingratiating herself with the people to try and get them to sit down because she wants them to speak freely.
Not a serious insurrection. People may
Well, yeah, we didn't say it was a serious insurrection. I believe the crimes committed that day, especially the ones against police officers and the attempted ones against, members of Congress, with the building of the gallows and the carrying of weapons by multiple people, including guns, that was serious. The overall chance of it succeeding was next to nothing. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So it was not a serious insurrection in that regard.
be saying, this is 1776 all over again.
Yeah, we don't say that. Marge says that. Lauren Boebert said that. Marge says that every fucking day.
But they mean that metaphorically. They're
Really? Yeah. They weren't going to tell that to the guy in the tri-corner hat.
not taking any steps to blow up the Capitol, to sort of forcibly seize the Capitol with force of arms. None of that.
None of that? What the fuck are you talking about? Lots of that.
She continues to
They were literally, people were yelling, kill him with his own gun about Officer Fanone. None of that.
say, DC is a lot of people who work for the government. I don't think they're sympathetic. If you got it moved, I mean the trial, you totally get off. So here is Nancy Pelosi's daughter admitting that the DC juries are biased, that they are basically...
Or she recognizes she's talking to a bunch of egomaniacal rubes who will only speak freely if they think you're on the team. Now, I don't know why she would see a bunch of maggots and think that. It boggles the mind. But it's clear that's what she's trying to do.
the government operatives of one sort or the other.
Well, again, clear from his reading of the video we're not seeing because... What?
Because they all are, feeding off the government trough. You can't really get a fair trial in DC.
Oh, I see. No, I'm not 100% sure that's what she's talking about. But they don't feed off the government trough. It's a government town, motherfucker. That's what it's for. I gotta say, Washington, D.C. is the capital of our fucking country. It serves a purpose. There's a reason why all these bureaus and departments are there, because proximity helps. It would not make a lot of sense to spread your decision-making, especially in the case of an emergency, your decision-making centers across 4 fucking time zones. Just cuz.
And then she goes on to say, after Democrats lose the House, they get rid of the committee, people may lose interest. No one's going to care when the Democrats are out of power. You take Biden out of office, then who cares? What she's saying is that this is all just a hoopla created by the Democrats because they have the power to do it. And that the moment they're out of power...
Yeah. We are big on hoopla. We're the captains of the hoopla squad.
The issue itself loses its significance. Why? Because it's a propaganda issue that is being exploited by the left while it can. But
what? Okay. You do admit that you did it, though, right? Like, I mean, at least talk about it as an unforced error on the part of maggots and Trump world. Are you completely incapable of at least looking at it in those terms? If anybody has taken and I don't, by the way, believe this, but if anybody's taken this and running with it, just to score political points, then you have to admit you gave them the ball. You fumbled it. You guys fucked up and handed them the ball that they are running into the end zone over and over and over again. And Debbie and Dinesh were active participants in ginning up this January 6th bullshit. A lot of these fuckers are in trouble because they bought this asshole's story.
It's a propaganda issue that bears very little resemblance, as she herself privately realizes, to the truth. There are two.
Also, I am disappointed in that clip. I'm not gonna lie. I thought we were gonna get some video and some reaction to the reaction video, but we had to take a Dinesh D'Souza's one-man show as Alexandra Pelosi, and I hope we get to see that video one day. I mean, it's no 2,000 Mules, but I think it'd be must-see TV. Hi, you're watching HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide. Thanks for joining me. It's awesome. All right, next up. Let's take a trip, shall we? We took a trip once before. We took a little trip to a little place called East Palestine, Ohio. A place with a drug trap house that they've been trying to get rid of for a long time. The center of fentanyl in that area. They boarded it up several times, and yet the criminals keep coming back, and the townsfolk have had enough. But luckily, a train explosion has distracted everybody, and unlike the time a train derailed and a fatal train crash happened during the Trump administration, unlike that time, Trump actually went down to this train wreck. And I think largely, let's be honest, because it's a perfect metaphor for his current campaign. What sums up Trump 2024 better than a train wreck in the middle of nowhere?
The
No
pointer
offense
is
to the
very
people of
accurate.
Palestine.
I'm getting 0.04 and change.
Fabulous.
Feet. I mean,
Look at
that's
that.
basically 7/16 of an inch.
That's a lot. Okay, this is Trump when he went to the McDonald's. Audio it's like body cam footage, so they, for whatever reason, it.
Palestine. Oh, they're going to be treated so good now. Him is coming up because we came.
Hey, did you hear that? Oh, they're going to be treated so good now. FEMA's coming up because we came here. Also, one of two things. One is, again, DeWine had to request FEMA, and by the time he had, it was other agencies that would come in and fix things, not FEMA. FEMA's the kind of like, get people out immediately. It's not the ones that do the ongoing support. And by the time he called, they were in the ongoing support part of it. NTSB, like all these other agencies, EPA, were down there working with them. But FEMA, again, you have to ask for it. Biden said, you let me know and I'll send him in. He's like, nah. And then he waited 2 weeks and he said, okay, actually, maybe we need him. And they're like, yeah, that's not FEMA anymore. That's somebody else. We'll send somebody else. But now it's going to the ancillary areas. So, because it's spreading, so they can use that as a prerequisite to go in or whatever. Anyways, they're just working with OEMA. Anyways, oh, by the way, there's this ad right here at the top. Temu, see this? See this right here? Temu, right here? Okay. That is a Chinese Amazon competitor. They had an ad during the Super Bowl. Don't buy anything from that. Don't click on Temu anywhere. Just saying. It's there are a couple of reasons. One is on the one hand, it's their way of going after Amazon and Walmart and attacking the big sellers in the United States to kind of undercut them. But also the Alibaba founder, Jack Ma, who started the entire machinery that they use to run Temu by designing Alibaba. They've sent him to re-education camps and he looks terrible and it's fucking sad. And so don't give them any money. There you go. That's just my 2 cents. Now, here we go. He's in a McDonald's. It's a great crowd.
They were not going to
Did you hear any concerns from the mayor or from the fire chief?
Well, the mayor's doing a fantastic job. The fire chief has done a fantastic
Also, he goes, have you heard anything from the
job.
fire
The
chief?
problem was the federal government was going to send nobody, and when I said I was coming, they changed their tune rapidly, and now they're.
Yeah, that's just a lie, by the way. It's just a stark, obvious lie. It's a lie. It's a silly lie.
Sending the whole group. So team is coming, and they're coming with a lot of help and a lot of money.
Do you think Norfolk Southern has been held accountable and been transparent enough with the residents here in East
Well, they're
Palestine?
going to have to be, and I'm sure they will be. And he likewise wasn't going to come, and when they saw I was coming, all of a sudden he came up. So I think they'll be very.
And by the way, I don't know who he is. I guess the head of Norfolk is who's it like?
Very good for it.
Who's been there already?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Did you get all three of those lies? Cool. Okay. Yeah.
Regrets Mr. Trump on rescinding the rail brakes law. There's been a lot of talk about it.
So everybody, enjoy your
Yeah, somebody asked him a question about the rail. I go, that had nothing to do with us.
and we're going to get the meals for the fire department. Okay? Hello, everybody.
Hello,
What's your
everybody.
specialty today?
What's your specialty today? It's a fucking McDonald's.
How are you today? Nice to meet you.
Hello, everybody. That's a nice, beautiful looking group of people. So I know this menu better than you do. Okay? I probably know it better than anybody in here. We're going to take care of the fire department.
Okay.
And by we, I mean campaign funds while they film this. And I basically, like, it's like the cheapest, like, free campaign ad I can actually do. You know, I can make. I'll buy about, well, I'm not going to buy it, obviously. I'm going to use campaign funds from people probably around here, ironically enough. People in Ohio gave me money for my campaign that I'm going to use to buy food for the fire department and then claim that I bought it for them. Huh? Isn't that fun? Give them the campaign credit card, will you?
We're going to take care of the police department. And what we do is all the people that are right
I'm the
now.
owner, Mr. President.
So
How are you?
I don't have to give him.
That's right.
That's a good one to own, right?
Yes, it is. One of the best.
So we're going to take care of you.
He's the owner of the McDonald's, and it is one of the best. Like, you can really... The great thing about it is just... Is this an East Palestine Big Mac? I think so. How can you tell? Because I'm in East Palestine, and it tastes exactly like every other Big Mac, which is the entire fucking point of this place.
Plus the people that are in here, they're going to get a nice free meal. All right? Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Nice. Good one, huh?
Yes, it is very my first store.
Oh, really? How many do you
I
have?
have 8 stores.
Whoa. He's a wealthy guy, huh? Is he a good boss?
He's a wonderful boss.
I can see it.
Thank
So
you.
we'll take care of everything. We appreciate it. Knock it out fast for us, okay?
Thank you.
Knock it out fast for us. Work faster, you chumps. I just brought in a herd of people with no warning and flip those fucking burgers.
Eating it on the plane back. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, it's for him. He wants McDonald's for the plane ride back. And he can't go there without buying it for everybody else. Gee, what a chintzy fuck.
Have a good time, okay?
I'm glad you came down.
Have a good time, by the way. Mayonnaise right on the chin. Just give it to me. There you go.
We're happy you came down here to visit
Thank you.
us.
It's a great
We
honor.
appreciate it.
Mr. Trump, why are you visiting today?
Huh?
Why are you visiting today?
Well, we brought a lot of people with us, and more importantly, we brought the federal government with us because when they heard I was coming, they all came. They weren't going to come. They were going to leave you abandoned, and now that.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yes, they were just gonna fuck that place. Yeah, not interested. And by the way, he's got to know the Biden-DeWine phone call happened, right? He's got to know that they spoke and he already sent resources and DeWine turned it down, turned down any further federal help. He's got to know that, right? So if there's any truth to what he's saying at all, and there isn't, but if there's any truth to it at all, it's that DeWine, when he found out Trump was coming, finally called the feds and said, we need help cleaning this fucking place up.
Not. The owner over here, he saw that.
I helped out all the responders and everything the first week. I was out here making Egg McMuffins myself Saturday morning.
You did a good
with
job.
these guys.
He did a good job. So give us a nice array of stuff. Take care of the people, and I'll see you later, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank
Can
you
I get a
very
picture
much.
with you?
What do you think about what's going on in East
Get a
Palestine?
picture, please.
Sir, what do you think about what's going on here in East Palestine?
We give them a bunch of the food and stuff. My people will get my order for me. 4 fish delights and a Diet Coke. No ice. Warm. Put it in a bag. Yeah. No, I eat 3 of them and fuck the other one. Just put it in the bag.
President Trump, what do you think about Biden going to Ukraine before coming here?
Well, I think he should come here.
Stevie, come
I
here.
think he should have
Come
been
here.
here.
Oh, God.
Should
Come on.
have been here.
Come take a picture of mine. No, don't. I got it.
He chose to.
Got it, brother.
President Trump, do you think the water's safe?
Uh-oh. He's getting in a... please. Okay, first of all, this dude wants a picture. This kid wants a picture, so he's got to do that. He's trapped in this. And somebody said, Mr. Trump, do you think the water's safe to drink?
It will be safe. It will be safe soon because FEMA's now coming in. FEMA was not coming, and now they're coming in.
The water, yeah, the water is gonna be safe. It's not safe now, but it's gonna be safe, which basically means if you're listening to the sound of my voice, don't drink the water at your house, even though your governor is at a house nearby right now drinking the water.
And it will be safe.
My mom loves you.
My mom loves you. Owen loves his mama.
My mom loves you. She's 85 and she loves you. She told me to say hello. I'll tell her that.
President Trump.
This is my son. Look at this.
Oh, good. Oh, I like this guy.
He's a big fan.
Come here, take a look. This is a guy I like. I like him even better than the father, but he voted for Trump too. Yeah. Is he a good pop? Yeah, he's a.
Is he a good pop?
You're a very wealthy young man. You know, I wrote it up
You're a very wealthy young man.
to you in first grade. Yeah, I did. What did you say? I was talking about. I was talking about how I was voting for you and you're a great president and all that, and with everything else in our country. Thank you, beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. What was your name again? Kyle Rittenhouse? Good. Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
a very nice boy you have. Huh?
That's a very nice boy you have there. Wait, how much to take him off your hands? About $24? I got anybody got cash?
Follows you all the time. Every time you're on TV, he's telling me all about it.
That's very nice. Oh, you know what we'll do? Here, this is for you. I like that one, but this one's even nicer. It's more expensive, I can tell you. This is triple the price of that one, right? Yeah.
What? He's wearing a Trump hat that he brought himself. This one... What the fuck does that mean?
Here you go.
Thank you.
Pop.
Here, take off your cheap, shitty Trump hat that you also bought from my store.
Come here, folks.
Thank you.
You know that's the best.
Yeah, at least it's not a crass campaign event. You got to give him credit.
That's the best. Oh, look at those boxes of food. Give me a few more.
They're screaming in the kitchen because they're like it's gonna be gone.
Got a couple of more.
What do you make of Biden, or rather Buttigieg's criticism of you pulling back rail regulations? Do you think it would have made
No,
a
it had
difference?
nothing to do with it. It had nothing to do. No, he's got to work on the airports. We've never had airports like this. We're like a third world nation. And this is an example of the breakdown. It's all breakdown. Our whole country is breaking down.
Our whole country is breaking down. And if you don't mind, I have to get back to my private plane that will take off from a commercial field nearby will allow us to fly through the airspace safely and navigate with thousands of other planes in the air all the time.
And he's really got to look at the airports because I have people that are taking planes and they're delayed. They're waiting at an airport for 3 days. It's crazy what's happening.
No, you don't. And you have people, he has people. I'm going to guess those fuckers just don't want to come see you. Yeah, I'm sorry, Pops. We can't, we were going to bring everybody, but, we're still, yeah. No, we're still at Midway. Yeah.
Are you shocked he hasn't come here yet?
Oh, he should have been here a long time ago. Boot edge. You know what you call him? Boot edge. That's the way.
That's the way? Boot edge? Is that supposed to be a slam? Is that supposed to be one of his...
He
Why do
should
you
have been
think
here
the
a long
rails are
time
like
ago.
this, then?
Now, he was supposed to come today, but he heard I was coming today and he postponed it.
Okay, so you're slowing down the function of the federal government and the aid getting to these people by being there?
But whenever he comes, he's got to do his job. And if we didn't come, they never would have come.
He's the transportation secretary.
He made a statement they will not come. When he saw that I was coming, Pop, you know what happened?
I know.
He said
I
we
know.
better get people there right away. So
You used to keep
Yeah, totally. What
And
happened.
FEMA's great. You know, I had a great relationship with FEMA.
But they decided, you know, after I wasn't president anymore, FEMA was like, you know what? Fuck America. I just let them die. That's FEMA. Just, you know, it's really just, it matters who's in leadership is really what it is. Because if they like the leader, they save Americans. And if they don't respect who the president is, they just let Americans die of cancer. I don't know what happened.
Job done. That's all that matters.
President,
what do you think of them blaming you for some of the problems with the rail?
It's actually hard to believe. Every time I see something, I said, when will they blame Trump? No, I suppose they'll blame us for the border. They actually tried that for about an hour. That didn't work.
Yeah, the wall is the reason the border sucks. And Title 42 is the reason why there's so many recidivist crossings, because they boot people out right away instead of processing them. So they make another run and another run and another run and another run. There you go. And by the third time they cross, they don't have the money anymore to go through the coyotes. So they start bringing drugs with them as a way of, they act as couriers sometimes for all kinds of stuff. And because they've tried multiple times and they no longer have any money.
We have a border that's a disaster.
Well, yeah, I blame, again, it was fine before the wall. Weird.
And they're responsible for destroying, they are destroying, systematically destroying our country. He knows better than anybody.
He knows better than anybody. He's rich and he's got 8 McDonald's in the surrounding area. He knows, you know, if you look at fentanyl deaths, which were like 64,000 last year, down from 100 when you include the final year of his presidency. And, you know, that's terrible. Of course, heart disease, you know, largely caused by carbohydrate heavy fast food. Number 1 cause of death. Just shouldn't bring it up, maybe.
Yeah, but they're systematically destroying our country, and it's a shame. And
it is a shame, you know. Whenever somebody systematically destroys a country, it's unnecessary. You know?
Edge should have been here already.
And what do you think about rail?
Hey, yeah, I can't talk to you right now. Get those food things to the people who want. Give me mine so I can get on my fucking plane to get like this. By the way, he's so trapped right now. The only out he has socially is to turn to do the business behind the counter.
Here's some more hats, kids.
Here's some more hats.
Excuse me.
I guess he ran out of paper towels to throw.
Anybody want from the media? Anybody want from the media?
Anybody want from the media? And that was the end of that. I guess they were like, oh, fuck. Put my phone away. It's a hat. Gee whiz. Yeah, that's quality right there. That's a man of the people. That's what I think. And by the way, I'm not the only one who's impressed. Believe me, you know, I know, you know, ladies and gentlemen, if I may, this is Trump drops bombshell, boom, Aaron Pate is filling in with America's Cornholio, Kurt Metzger, the man who lays an egg every time he thinks he has a good idea. This is apparently Trump is, I guess, well, here it is. This is it. Trump admits U.S. was behind 2014 coup in Ukraine. This is, I'm going to guess, in reaction to the video we played a day or so ago, that Trump put out, that kind of, he just did all the talking points for the people at the Rage for Russia thing on the weekend. He was just basically Stephen Miller drafted a bunch of talking points in that one to feed these assholes. And my guess is,
hey,
that's
my
where it
name's
comes
Kevin.
From. Hi,
I'm
Kevin.
A musician.
You're a musician
and performer.
It's good.
I
You
just
performed.
adopted a rescue cat named Luna.
Good for you.
I'm sharing my discovery story to help others start the conversation.
Okay. Good for you. It's apparently if you're allergic to cats,
I'm Mary
but you
Matte
love
sitting
them,
in
and you're allergic to the trumpet, there's a drug for you.
For Jimmy Dore here with Misha Pollan and Americans Comedian.
By the way, Jimmy has been off for he went and did this thing in DC that was one day on a weekend, And this motherfucker took a week off and has had Pate filling in for him.
Kurt Metzger. And here's a new video that just dropped from Donald Trump.
Yo, he just dropped it, yo. Yep. Yep, the warmongers and capitalists. Again, remember, this is the talking point word that the Russians and the Kremlin bots were pushing all over, so that people like him could accuse Democrats and people who are genuinely on the left of being warmongers because they support Ukraine's self-defense.
World War III has never been closer than it is right now.
Sorry, we already covered this. This is so stupid.
We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America last globalists and the deep state, the Pentagon.
And get this, whatever this shit is in my eye, get it out. Somebody get a bottle opener, some sort of like a pipe cleaner, something. I don't know what the fuck this is. I was staring at some tits and a fly just flew right in my eyeball and it just made a nest or something. I don't know, but the whole thing's all puffed up.
The State Department and the National Security Industrial Complex.
Right. That's our newest phrase that he put out, the National Security Industrial Complex. I don't think people even recognize how fucked up that is, especially coming from him, who wants to turn the country into a gated community.
One of the reasons I was the only president in generations who didn't start a war.
No, you just kept them going. And I mean, I guess technically speaking, Syria, but also you managed to, I guess, escalate and then hand over bases to Russia there.
Is that I was the only president who rejected the catastrophic advice of many of Washington's generals, bureaucrats, and the so-called diplomats who only know how to get us into conflict, but they don't know how to get us out.
Oh, you mean like Biden got us out of Afghanistan?
For decades, we've had the very...
By the way, if you'll notice, I can't help but push back on this bullshit as it's playing. Like every sentence screams to be jumped on and dissected, vivisected even. Meanwhile, Aaron's just staring, I guess, at either me or the monitor where that image is for him to watch. Like, finally, Daddy's come home.
The same people, such as Victoria Nuland and many others just like her, obsessed with pushing Ukraine toward NATO, not to mention the State Department support for uprisings in Ukraine.
Yeah, so this is, remember how I said this was designed to feed these fuckers? I mean, we predicted this video.
Wow. That's a pretty bold statement. He's talking about Victoria Nuland. If you remember, that's the U.S. official who was caught on tape plotting a coup in Ukraine.
No, she wasn't. A heavily edited tape of her talking to someone else about who would probably be the successor if Yanukovych fucks off to Russia, which he ultimately did. And they were talking about the head of the opposition who wanted a free and fair election being the best guy to do it. Other people might be jockeying for it, but he didn't want to do it. The head of the opposition didn't want to be president of the country. He just wanted the elections to happen. He sat in for a month, and then they moved on to the next person. The entirety of their coup to establish this as their puppet guy lasted a fucking month. And I would like to see the case where the two elections that have happened since are somehow invalid or not the will of the people or any of that shit. They never seem to make that case, except that, you know, Zelensky's a neo-Nazi Jew.
Back in 2014, she's the one who says that, talking about who the next leader of Ukraine should be, and who they decide on, a guy named Yatsenyuk, is exactly who became the new prime minister of Ukraine.
For a month.
And after the coup in February.
For March
2014. And Trump here appears to be referring to that. The State Department.
Yeah, he's referring to it. Not from a point of anybody who gave a fuck while he was president. He's saying it because it's in the teleprompter, because Stephen Miller put it there, because Stephen Miller's entire job is to wank off guys like this now.
Department supported uprisings in Ukraine, which is, if that's what he's referring to, then this is the highest level person in the U.S. to ever admit to U.S. involvement in the 2014 coup.
No. Just because they support it or they like the idea doesn't mean we were the driving force behind it. We can support the Jasmine Revolution too. The State Department completely supported the Arab Spring, for example. They didn't start it. They didn't carry it. As a matter of fact, if they had, it would have been more successful.
Yeah, I wonder if he figured anything out, because it's so funny when he came in on the beginning of this kind of talk, but clearly he bombed a bunch of places too, didn't he?
And we're going to get to his own role in fueling the Cold War that he's now trying to criticize. Because
this, by the way, Mate, because he works with the gray zone and that kind of stuff, he can't like anything about any of the government, Trump or Obama, anybody. However, Jimmy Dore likes Trump and has to play footsie with Trump was robbed, Russiagate was bullshit, all that stuff, so that he can keep getting on Tucker.
He played a major role in this too, which is interesting.
Mostly to cover the fact that he was, the Senate made him.
These people have been seeking confrontation for a long time, much like the case in Iraq and other parts of the world, and now...
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he meant by the case in Iraq. Did we leave a case in Iraq? What's in the case? What's in the case? The kidney?
We're teetering on the brink of World War III, and a lot of people don't see it, but I see it, and I've been right about a lot of things. They all say Trump's been right about everything. None of this excuses in any way the outrageous...
How the fuck do you not laugh at that if you're watching it for the first time? Maybe he isn't. How do you watch that stone-faced? Because this is fucking ridiculous.
And horrible invasion of Ukraine 1 year ago, which would have never happened if I was your president. Not even a little chance.
Not even a little chance. Because what I would have done is undermined Zelensky, gutted him. They probably would have just snuffed him, sprayed him in the face with something and killed him. And then then Yanukovych would have flown back in and Paul Manafort would have reinstalled him. And then they would just take over the country by having a fake referendum and then Russia could steal it. Yeah. And then they would go about murdering everyone.
But it does mean that here in America, we need to get rid of the corrupt globalist establishment that has botched every major foreign policy decision for decades. And that includes President Biden, whose own people said he's never made a good decision when it comes to looking at other countries and looking at wars.
Again, they start laughing at him just dunking on Biden without even waiting long enough for that weird fucking wandering half thought of looking at other countries and looking at wars. He doesn't know how to look at things. Biden doesn't know how to look at things. I know how to look at everything with one eye open. That's how you do it, with one.
Ouch.
Ouch.
We have to replace them with people who support American interests. Over our 4 years in the White House, we made incredible progress.
Fuck punctuation.
In putting the America Last contingent aside and bringing the world to peace. And now we're going to complete the mission. The State Department, Pentagon, and national security establishment will be a very different place by the end of my administration. In fact, just into my administration, it'll be a very different.
Yeah, that's the whole, it's going to happen very quickly. I could solve this in 24 hours. I basically only need to be president for 1 more week, and we could just knock this shit out, and then I'll just coast. America will just be amazing.
Place, and it'll get...
It didn't work last time, but that's because I just need a do-over. I know what was wrong. It was my belt.
Things done, just like I did 4 years ago. We never had it so good. We'll also stop the lobbyists and the big defense contractors from going in and pushing our senior...
See, they're trying, Aaron's trying not to laugh at him, and Kurt can't help it.
Military and national security officials toward conflict, only to reward them when they retire with lucrative jobs, getting paid millions and millions of dollars. Take a look at the globalist warmonger donors backing our opponents. That's because they're...
By the way, he means DeSantis. For the record. He doesn't mean Democrats. He means DeSantis when he's saying that.
Candidates of war. I am the president who delivers peace, and it's peace through strength. There was a reason we had no conflict. There was a reason we didn't get into wars, because other countries...
Because I didn't give a fuck if people got genocided on the first place. And then the rest of them, there were enough of them there already. I could just keep feeding those.
Respected us.
We're still in Afghanistan.
Entirely built, all right from the beginning, rebuilt our military. It's a big...
By the way, the fact that he's like, look how much he's playing this, like, uninterrupted.
Reason for that. They didn't want to mess around with the United States, and now they're laughing at us. We could end the Ukraine conflict in 24 hours with the right leadership. At the end of my next 4 years, the warmongers and frauds and failures of the senior ranks of our government will all be...
And again, we watched this before, but look at Mate just kind of like, I like it. This is good.
Gone, and we will have a new group of competent national security officials who believe in...
like the last batch.
Defending America's vital interests above...
by keeping us in Bagram.
Above all else. Thank you very much.
So that's Trump. And
really? Are you sure? I'm going to need to see some ID.
When he said,
I think it was a body double. I'm with Q. I'm with the QAnons right now. I think that was I'm pretty sure that was a spitting image puppet.
he says a lot there. And he says, for
yes, he speaks many words in a row.
example, that if he were president, that the Russian invasion of Ukraine wouldn't have happened. He's not the first to say that. Bitter critics of his, including Fiona Hill, a former White House expert, and also the former U.S. ambassador.
Former White House expert. And by the way, he's mischaracterizing what Fiona Hill has said.
Ambassador to Ukraine have also said that if Trump were president, this invasion wouldn't have happened. But
because it wouldn't have been necessary, because he would have helped them undermine the country and take it over easily.
What Trump is leaving out here is that his own policies played a major role in setting the stage for this invasion to happen.
See, now you're fucking up Jimmy's whole business model.
Because as much as Trump has criticized sometimes warmongers like he's doing here, he sided with the warmongers. He appointed them to his own cabinet, and they oversaw a number of policies that made this invasion by Russia.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that Donald Trump is full of shit? When did that happen?
Which he's not owning up to here. So here's just some of
He isn't. Normally, he's so good at owning up to things.
Okay.
Not just them. All them plus Omarosa was his great idea.
So this is a headline from 2019.
Wait, is Kurt in charge of his own pop-in button now? When Jimmy's not around? That's adorable.
Trump to seek $250 million in new lethal aid to Ukraine. So that was Trump doing what Obama refused to do, which is send a whole...
Hold on one second, by the way. Let me grab... Trump to seek. What was it? Military aid to Ukraine. That's Defense News. This is. You guys remember this get together? That's the article by Joe Gould. No relation to Elliot. U.S. President Donald Trump will seek at least another $250 million in security aid for Ukraine in his 2020 budget request to Congress, including lethal Javelin anti-tank weapons, according to a senior Pentagon official. Assuming, of course, the Congress authorizes and appropriates it, we will continue that. We do envision some continuing lethal aid assistance to Ukraine. Undersecretary for Defense John Rood said Wednesday at a roundtable with reporters that disclosure was unusual, so far ahead of the budget's request formal presentation, typically in February or March. New javelins have cleared the congressional approval process, and it is up to Kiev to formally request the weapons. Congress is already teeing this up, and he can't say no to them because, yeah, all right. A $39 million sale of 150 anti-tank missiles and 2 additional missile launchers is pending, on top of the 200 missiles and 37 launches the U.S. sold Kiev in 2018. Rood denied reports the U.S. barred Ukrainian troops from using these weapons on the front lines, calling them not accurate according to U.S. requirements, are aimed at protecting sensitive American technologies transferred to Ukraine from being diverted to third parties. There they are. See, what you want to do here is, no, see that little blue light? See that blue light? Yeah. So stare right into that, and then, yeah, you're going to target with that one, and then as soon as you see the mouse's face, pull the trigger. In terms of their usage in the field, there aren't restrictions on that, blah, blah, blah. congressional involvement. American-made medical equipment, night vision devices, and counter-mortar radar make a difference for Ukrainian troops, but is also at the center of impeachment proceedings playing out against Trump in Washington. House Democrats on Tuesday formally asserted Trump abused his power, arguing that the president and his allies pressured Ukraine to announce investigations of his political enemies while withholding nearly $400 million in military aid and making a White House meeting with Ukraine's president conditional on such an announcement. The hold was lifted in September. Trump and his GOP allies have argued Trump acted appropriately. The reason this article was done at all, the reason why his people said, oh yeah, we're going to get more stuff to them. We're going to December. Yeah, we're going to get this, is because he'd already been busted fucking with them. Jesus Christ.
Category of weapons to Ukraine that Obama didn't want to send.
Give it to the Nazis, let them fight it out.
Exactly.
Fight it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Nazis.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And here's another one. Trump says U.S. will withdraw from nuclear arms treaty with Russia. Experts warned of most severe crisis in nuclear arms control since the 1980s as Trump confirms U.S. will leave the INF agreement. That's
now they
Trump
can
doing
stop
that.
laughing at us. They're laughing at us because we have a treaty. We're getting rid of it. They'll stop laughing.
Here's another one. Nord Stream 2. Trump approved sanctions on Russia gas pipeline.
Weird. So it's almost like for the large part, the position of the U.S. government toward about Russia and towards Ukraine has been consistent for a long fucking time.
That was Trump trying to stop Russia's most important piece of foreign infrastructure. This, at that time at least, this pipeline between Russia and Germany, bringing cheap.
Also, by the way, December 2019. Also, after he had been busted playing footsie and was in the middle of an impeachment.
Russian energy to Germany, which Trump took the lead in trying to stop. And of course,
right, to cover his ass.
Biden administration took up the mantle by blowing it up. But that was Trump trying to do that. So all these things radically escalated tensions with Russia. Those were Trump policies. And even when he left office,
okay, so Trump started all this shit, right? It's all Trump's fault.
This is what Trump said just in March 2022. He said, I would threaten Russia with nuclear submarines if still president. Okay? So that sounds like warmongering to me. That sounds like warmongering to me.
I would threaten Russia so hard they would never laugh at us again with a submarine.
So Trump, even though in 2016...
By the way, all these guys, when Biden simply just talks about support of Ukraine in general and isn't talking about isn't wagging America's nukes at anybody, they're talking about him ratcheting up World War III and this is a provocation and how do you not take it seriously, blah, blah, blah. But when Trump does it, it's just a bunch of goofy bullshit.
He ran against, he ran as sort of an anti-neocon candidate. He criticized Hillary Clinton and John McCain and Jeb Bush for the wars in Iraq and Libya and Syria. He still came into office and he appointed a bunch of warmongers and he pursued warmongering policies, including appointing Mike Pompeo. And listen to how proud Mike Pompeo was of how his administration under Trump escalated tensions with Russia.
They escalated the tension. So the Russians what were they doing during this escalation? Was it they were just kind of hovering right about here and we just kept doing this or what was happening on the other side of this? There is no other side. I'm kidding.
Helsinki, do you think that the American people deserve to know what's in President Trump's tax returns and business interests that are intertwined with Russia?
Senator, I'm going to try to stay out of the same political circus that you and I ended up in last time I was sitting here, and simply respond by saying this same president with which you seem to express such deep concern is engaged in a massive defense buildup, which threatens Vladimir Putin's regime.
Because the Senate is making him, because the Congress is passing this stuff, and if he turns it down, he'll get in huge trouble. I mean, this is the same. I don't get this. This is the same shit. They talk about Biden and they, being owned by Ukraine and owned by China specifically. And then they look at the things that I guess they ignore the things that Biden is doing to rebuff China's encroachment on the rest of the world or their murder of their own people. And somehow I guess they ignore those details so that they can, continue the myth. And I think the only reason why they're able to do that, or why it's possible, is unlike Trump, these were the Biden administration's ideas. The CHIPS Act and the AUKUS agreement and all that stuff is coming out of the administration and being discussed certainly by the Congress, but this started with Biden. This is part of their strategy. Whereas the sanctions against Russia and the military buildup in Ukraine that happened under Trump came from Congress, and Trump had a choice. He could either, while he was being accused of being on the hook with Russia, veto or refuse to sign the shit and let everybody know that it's like kind of like an undercover agent or a double agent not snorting blow. They offer you some and you gotta kind of do the drug. It's an inverted analogy, but you get what I'm saying. That if you don't do it, they get suspicious. It's that Trump had that problem. It wasn't his idea for these sanctions. He did not go, I think we need these things. As a matter of fact, anytime those sanctions were higher, in the case of like when we were expelling Russian diplomats, if all the other European countries expelled like 2 or 3, we expelled the same amount of all of the European Union together. He was pissed. He wanted us to just do 2 people. By the way, 2 people that Russia would pick.
He instructed us to put together a nuclear posture review that has set Vladimir Putin on his ear.
Yeah, but he didn't do that because he wanted Russia to be set on their ear. He did it because it looks macho, and it feeds the defense companies. I mean, if you talk about like throwing good money after bad to defense contractors, one of them is building up the nuclear arsenal for the fuck of it. By the way, currently Russia, in theory, and everybody's numbers are fuzzy these days, has about 4,200 to 4,500 nuclear warheads. And the United States has about 2,700. Now, each one of these is, an order of magnitude larger than the ones that hit, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So it's not even on the same standard as the old ones. So you don't need, certainly you don't need more than 100 to destroy everybody all life on Earth a couple of times over. So it's, but everybody's got, what if they blow these up and these get blown up and these get blown up, but will we have any left? That's how this whole system is built. At the height of the Cold War, there were something in like 80,000 nukes amongst all the nuclear powers in the country, spread across 80,000.
Because of its robustness and the recapitalization of our nuclear program, he's kicked out 60 spies. We banned Kaspersky.
He was pissed. He was so pissed. Oh, hold on. That was super fun. Let's see. Whoops. Yeah, here you go. Hold on. Trump was reportedly furious that his administration was portrayed as tough on Russia after expelling diplomats from the U.S. Some of his top aides have battled over the administration's policy towards Putin and Russia. Most recently, Trump and his aides disagreed over how many Russian diplomats in the U.S. should be suspended. No thanks. Trump and some of his top aides have battled over the administration's stance towards Putin and Russia, according to the Washington Post. Most recently, the president and his cabinet disagreed over how many... Let's see what that... We'll look at what disagreed is like. There, hold on. Yeah. Oh, get out of here. I have to read. All right. But when it became public that France and Germany were only expelling 4 Russian diplomats each, there you go. Trump reportedly erupted at his aides for dismissing so many more than their allies did. We'll match their numbers, Trump reportedly told his top aides, according to a senior official who spoke to the Post. We're not taking the lead. We're matching. Because leadership. The president was furious that his administration was being portrayed as taking the toughest stance on Russia after believing that the U.S. and its allies would take an equal position. Trump's aides tried to soothe them by telling the president that the total number of European expulsions equaled the U.S., but that reportedly did not appease Trump's anger and feeling him being misled. There were curse words, one official told the Post. A lot of curse words. Yep. Trump is also said to have told his aides not to speak publicly about tough measures against Russia that he approves because he does not want to upset Putin. The U.S. has taken a number of aggressive actions against Russia over the last year because Congress mandated it, including imposing sanctions and shuttering Russian diplomatic compounds. Yep. And then it's him fucking up the words of the national anthem. That's funny. Yeah. He was pissed.
Yeah, we put $11 billion in the European Defense
Secretary,
Initiative.
You've already.
No, Senator,
said
actually,
that.
I haven't even begun to scratch the
No,
surface.
but you've already. You
Wow.
haven't answered my question, so let me try it a little different way.
Wow, Pompeo showing some honesty.
Exactly. And they don't want to hear it because they're so fixated to their conspiracy theory that Trump is a Russian asset. So Pompeo pointing out all the ways Trump is escalating tensions with Russia, they don't want.
Also, by the way, he was, again, Kurt doesn't know this because Kurt doesn't read anything unless cleared with Jimmy, I think. Aaron Mate has seen these stories at least, and he knows that in every instance that Pompeo mentioned in that little Gish gallop he did was stuff that either was directly mandated by a budget clearing the Senate and was included in that, and the Senate and the House members had already agreed on it. And if Trump tried to push back on it, it would expose him as being under Russia's thumb. And in the meantime, again, he wanted to expel fewer Russians. He got angry with his staff if they were ever quoted in a story about stuff they were doing towards Russia because Congress made him, because he didn't have an option. And he wanted to hide behind it. He wanted to hide the fact that they were doing it. It wasn't me. I'm your stooge. They made me do it. That's what he was looking at. And God knows that's a behavior he engages in all the fucking time.
Mr. Pompeo, I don't actually know anything. I need you to say the thing.
Hey, wouldn't you want to know, as Secretary of State? I mean, I'm taking you in your sincerity here as Secretary of State, whether all these Russian financial interests, oligarchs, and others are part of the decision-making of the president. I mean, wouldn't you want that out in the open and to understand what went on at Helsinki?
What a moron. So you think they're paying him off even while he's doing this to them?
Exactly.
Well, apparently you think China owns Biden. And again, these ideas to counter China came from the Biden administration. All the things that Pompeo listed came from Congress.
Exactly. And that's why he doesn't want Pompeo to say what Trump is actually doing, is because it contradicts that conspiracy theory. That
We
Trump...
do know, moron. They're not friends.
It's an easy
they are.
Kind of yes or no question.
Senator, I don't need secondhand understandings of what President Trump is instructing his administration to do to push back against Russia. I have firsthand understandings and directives.
Well, let me ask the question a little bit different.
We've opposed
here.
Nord Stream 2. We've got a 4x30 out of NATO that also is a big setback for Russia. I mean, I'm happy to continue the list. I'm happy to cease there, but I will.
Oh, by the way, if I may. Yep. Just minutes after the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky finished his impassioned speech to Congress, Donald Trump released a statement filled with lies about his own history with NATO. Not only did Trump repeatedly undermine the alliance, he also admitted he was ready to ignore Article 5 of the NATO treaty altogether. After spending years undermining it, here you go, Washington. Trump also highlighted the strong arming he engaged in, convinced NATO countries to increase their defense budgets. The former president conceded that he essentially threatened to ignore the treaty's Article 5 commitment that an attack on one is an attack on all. Trump criticized NATO members ahead of the summit. Trump administration to cut its financial contribution to NATO. Trump falsely claims NATO countries and the owe United States money for defense spending. Right? They were delinquent, he said. That like he does that all the time. Bolton says Trump might have pulled the U.S. out of NATO if he'd been reelected. In a second Trump term, I think he may well have withdrawn from NATO, and I think Russian President Vladimir Putin was waiting for that. Bolton's made quite the opposite case that Putin didn't do stuff like this during Trump's presidency because Trump was already doing the work for him, specifically by undermining NATO. He was teeing it up.
I will submit the entirety of this administration's actions against Russia for the record, if I might.
Please do.
We'll back a truck up and get it on in here.
So that's our political spectrum for the last 7 years.
Look! I assure you, we are about to go to war with Russia. He has ratcheted up.
Exactly.
No, dude, you're not hearing me.
That's the debate.
They hate us now.
That's the debate on the left, quote unquote.
Is it weird that like Kurt goes from laughing to this weird sad face so quickly? Does anybody else notice that? Watch. This happens all the time. I mean, rarely do we get to see this transition on camera because Jimmy usually hides him behind a post.
About to go to war with Russia. He has ratcheted up.
Exactly.
No, dude, you're not hearing me.
That's the debate.
They hate us now.
That's the debate on the left, quote unquote. It's Democrats insisting that Trump is
like, have you ever seen a quicker deflation of laughter in your life? Good Lord.
a Russian agent doing Putin's bidding. On the right are people like Mike Pompeo who were in power saying, no, actually, we're radically escalating tensions with Russia and we're happy to keep doing it. And that's our political spectrum right there. And Trump, meanwhile, come into office talking about cooperating with Russia, talking about taking on the neocons. He appointed neocons like Mike Pompeo, and he didn't do any of the things he said he would do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What fucking audience do you think you're talking to? That's it. I mean, this is kind of an important point with Mate, even for Kurt and Dor and everybody on this particular show. They always seem to be talking about Trump as if he represented a hope to them. Did anybody notice that? That they discuss him like he was going to fix shit. Like they're disappointed Trump voters. It's the attitude they have about him. Like he got rid of Hillary and then he was going to come in and wreck everything and turn us into a corporatocracy or something. But at least we wouldn't be on Putin's back so he could do what he needed to do.
His policies escalated tensions with Russia.
He brought Bolton in.
He brought Bolton in, exactly. Now, defenders of Trump might say, well, look, he had no choice. He was boxed in.
Fuck you. No, he wasn't. By what? What was he boxed in by? He was president of the United States. How was he boxed in? Were they going to assassinate him? Because that's the only thing you go. They're going to fucking Dealey Plaza him if he didn't put in John Bolton. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Faced a lot of pressure. He was new to Washington.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. He's new. He's a young guy. He's impressionable. He's got a spongy brain and an even spongier dick. And he's, it's all glitz and glamour, and he, yeah, exactly. Sally, Salty in the chat. He had 4 fucking years. And if you listen to him, he was ready from day fucking 1.
He couldn't stand up to the warmongers.
Why not? Why not? If he ran on it and he had this magic fucking mandate, why not? What was stopping him from standing up to the warmongers? Because the only answer you can actually give if you're going this direction is that they'd offed him.
Was threatened. And there's truth to that. Because check out what Chuck Schumer said right before
He was
Trump.
trying to make nice with them by bringing these scumbags in after he said he's going to clear the swamp.
Yeah.
He didn't understand.
Oh, I see. That's what it is. He was just trying to play nice. He's going to, yeah, I mean, I want to swap the swamp, not so much clean, drain the swamp.
What an idiot move that is.
Well, and then there was things like what Chuck Schumer said right before Trump took office.
The latest statement, latest tweet, as you were just saying, the president-elect's latest unsolicited pronouncement on the intelligence community. This was his tweet just a little while ago tonight. You see the scare quotes there. The intelligence briefing on so-called Russian hacking was delayed until Friday. Perhaps more time needed to build a case. Very strange. We're actually told, intelligence sources tell NBC News since this tweet has been posted, that actually this intelligence briefing for the president-elect was always planned for Friday. It hasn't been delayed. But he's taking these shot, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but from what I'm told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked.
So there we go.
Don't give the reasoning and ignore the fact that he said, I don't know what they would do. Largely, he's predicated on the idea that, look, if anybody knows where the bodies are buried, it's the people who've been watching you bury them for a long fucking time and haven't had orders to stop you. That's the intelligence community. And the idea is that if at some point he crossed the line and fucked with the CIA and got a bunch of their agents killed in Russia, for example, which is a very strong possibility, or even like the Israeli agent that was killed after he was yapping to the Russians in the White House that time. There's a point where a line might come where those guys might go, okay, all I got to do is drop this thumb drive where somebody will find it.
And whether it was the intimidation from forces like Chuck Schumer mentioned.
Yes, forces like Chuck Schumer, who made Trump tweet like an asshole and pick on the intelligence community and say if you fuck with them, they might fuck with you back by telling people what they know about you.
From the national security state, who have 6 ways from Sunday to get back at the president who goes against them, or whether
it was an assassination threat.
It was just Trump wanting to get along and be liked by Republicans who are dominated by neocons. His actual policies escalated tensions with Russia, and now.
And considering how much he golfed out in the open, I'm going to guess he wasn't afraid of the intelligence community murdering him. So I'm going to guess he wanted to be friends with the Republicans. He wanted to make friendsies. That's why. Not that he thought that there was money on the other side of it for him. No, he's not that kind of guy.
He's calling out the agenda that he himself advanced, and a lot of what he said there is totally true. And that is why they don't like Trump, not because of his policies.
Yeah, fuck Kurt. Kurt doesn't even get to be here for this.
Which they actually support and encourage, but because sometimes he speaks the truth, and sometimes he calls out the right people accurately.
And by the way, by calling out the right people and speaking the truth is like whenever Aaron Mate agrees with what he's saying, whether it's true or not. And in this case, it's not.
It's just
you like the taste of his bullshit sometimes. It's an acquired taste, I guess, right, Aaron?
A shame for his own legacy that he couldn't apply any of that critique he has to his own policies.
Because he's, like you, Aaron, a man without principles.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, the one thing
you can't turn to Kurt like that and expect him to come up with something.
There was that one time Candace Owens brought up, why didn't you pardon Assange and Snowden? It's the only time I've seen Trump even like say he was wrong. Like I couldn't believe it. Like, yeah, well, I should have done. I've never even seen him look like that.
Yeah, that's a guy who's intimidated, I think.
Yeah.
Doing live. We're doing live stand-up. There's no jokes. I mean, they're Kurt's jokes, and I read the jokes of a dead guy because he can't complain that I'm stealing his jokes someplace rather. And I'm out doing stand-up even though I'm not. Good Lord. By the way, I have just gotten the dates for my Flappers shows for the year. We're trying to do the last Wednesday. There's a couple of shuffle months, like in March, it's the second to last Wednesday, that kind of thing. I'm going to post those dates up. So I'm going to do a big graphic like this at the beginning of the show just to be a dick. Yeah, we're doing live stand-up, and by we, I mean me, but I like talking about we and the royal we, and I'm also going to say, I'm just going to say my own name in the third person. HAL Sparks is doing stand-up like HAL Sparks is wont to do. All right, one last section. Now I know we've had enough of Mate for the day, but this is going to aggravate some people I just know, and so we're not going to do the whole thing because why the fuck would we? But just look at this thumbnail. Yeah. This is psychopath. This is, I mean, that's it. Because Rachel apparently is live streaming the the Rage for Russia event. Look at this shit. Just gross. And why is this? Because she didn't take the Rage for Russia, Rage Against Ukraine gathering seriously.
I'm Kabaterichi, and I am
punch the thing, and
805.
I'm eating the thing, and I drink 805.
I'm Aaron Mate, sitting in for Jimmy, here with Misha Pollan and Americans comedian Kurt Metzger. And
I think it's America's comedian. Unless you're calling him Amerikaans comedian, because it just goes back to your time playing chatterbait with Russians.
There was just recently
Amerikaans comedian who I came across on chatterbait.
a big anti-war rally in Washington, D.C., Rage Against the War Machine.
Oh, okay. Was it behind Rage Against the War Machine? Because I couldn't see the anti-war thing. All I saw was the Rage Against the War Machine show. The 10-man show.
Voices on the left and the right. Dennis Kucinich, Tulsi Gabbard, Jill.
Almost anyone who refuses to turn over their financial interactions with Russia.
Stein.
Or Syria, in the case of Dennis
Ron
Kucinich.
Paul. Many others calling out the proxy war in Ukraine, demanding peace. Well,
No, demanding Ukraine let Russia reload and finish the job.
it got some attention from MSNBC.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Specifically, MSNBC's most popular host, Rachel Maddow.
Yes, who only has to work one day a week.
The top Russiagator in corporate media of the last 7 years. And check.
And by the way, I've always found it very hinky when alleged lefties use the phrase Russiagate in defense of Trump to mock and that includes Jimmy, and he's on Jimmy's show. That might be why he either ended up there or whatever. But both of them use the Russiagate as a pejorative, sarcastic remark. Trump's a Russia suck up. He's not an agent. He's an asset. He's a useless idiot.
Check out how she reported, quote unquote, this rally.
Oh my God, she's quote unquote reporting on it.
And I mean truly random rally on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. A rally in support of Russia, I guess, given all the Russian flags.
There was like a few Russian flags there.
Yeah, there were. You think? Yeah, just a couple. They were basically like ironic. They were like hipster Russian flags, alongside, by the way, the 1776 colonies U.S. flag, which is pre-Civil War, is a pre-Civil War dog whistle for right-wingers. Just a couple of Russian flags.
None of the organizers had anything to do with that.
No, it was just the crowd they attracted and the people they speak to.
And that's what she's focusing on, to paint this as some sort of pro-Russian rally, even though you had many speakers like David Swanson condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But
many of them? You mean the one?
That's why they said somebody's sending someone with flags for that very reason, so that this idiot can go, whoa, so remember Trevor Noah at the trucker thing? He goes, if there's even one Nazi flag at the parade, then it's a Nazi parade.
Yeah.
You don't
Well, that's what you guys do with the Ukrainians. What's the fucking
say
difference?
about Ukraine, but he'll say it about truckers.
Exactly.
No, you say that about Ukraine.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
At least a rally against the U.S. supporting Ukraine.
What?
It's a rally against the U.S. using Ukraine to fight to the last Ukrainian against Russia, to use.
Yeah, don't you guys know that? If we stopped using them, then they would fight to the last Ukrainian quicker, because they wouldn't have our support, and so they'd be dead already. That's what we're shooting. That's what we're shooting for. That's what this rally is about.
Ukraine for a proxy war, and to call for the thing that the Biden administration has been sabotaging since even before Russia invaded, which is diplomacy. That's
yes. They by what? Telling the Ukrainians that the attack was coming and being correct.
what this rally was for.
Also, hold on one second. Let's see. This is Get out of here. Hold on. Russia denies. Okay, hold on. I'll see if this is. Hold on.
Your dedicated Cintas service.
Hold on, I'm bringing this over. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna. This is from last year. This time last year. What's the actual date? February 17th. Hold on. Oh, play, you silly thing. I hate when that happens. Oh, quit it. I'll have to reload the page and make me do it again. Is that what happens?
At ADP, we use data.
See if I can get it. Hold on. I watched the whole ad, god damn it. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. This is Biden very high probability of Russian invasion.
Why is the threat of a Russian invasion right now?
It's very high.
Why?
It's very high because they have not moved any of their troops out. They've moved more troops in. Number one. Number two, we have reason to believe that they are engaged in a false flag operation to have an excuse to go in. Every indication we have is they're prepared to go into Ukraine, attack Ukraine. Number one. Number two, I've been waiting for a response from Putin for my letter, my response to him. It's come to that Moscow embassy. Their faxing it here. Not faxing it, they're sending it here. I have not read it yet. I cannot comment on it.
Have you been briefed on it in any way?
Oh, yeah. Yes. My sense this will happen within the next several days.
What are the things that will there any diplomatic path still available?
Yes, there is. There's a clear diplomatic path. That's why I asked Secretary Blinken to go to the United Nations and make his statement today. He'll lay out what that path is. I've laid out a path to Putin as well on, I think, Sunday. And so there is a path. There is a way through this.
Are you going to call Putin? Are you going to call Putin?
I'm not calling Putin. I have no plans to call Putin right now.
Right, there you go. Leading up to then, they had Blinken operating with him. He sent a letter saying, "Don't do this. You don't have to do this." And Russia's like, "Fuck you."
The definition of support.
Exactly.
Trying to stand up against the Russian invasion of their country. This was a tiny event. It was small. It was a weird assemblage of Americans. There were Proud Boys there. There were some of the white supremacist groups you'd recognize from
the blue hair gentleman. That's a Proud Boy. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what she's talking about here. There were, I think, a few people who've been associated with some white supremacist groups.
Yeah, there were a couple of Russian flags, a few white supremacists. They weren't invited so much as they read the flyer and said, "This speaks to me," and showed up. I gave them a ride there, but I didn't know they said they were going to not be white supremacists for a couple of hours.
But they weren't invited by the speakers, and I'm not even sure if they were there to support the rally. And again,
what would make you think they aren't?
Irony of trying to call attention to a couple of people who might be associated with white supremacist groups when Maddow is supporting the policy of arming a Ukrainian military that has a neo-Nazi militia incorporated into it.
Yes, that's right. A neo-Nazi militia that takes orders from a Jew. Makes total sense. I mean, this is the same. I mean, like, that one's longer than the other clip. We don't need to do the whole thing. I just thought you guys would like to see, like, every time she makes, like, her so-called reporting, and then immediately she says something and he goes, well, yeah, I mean, there were a couple of Russian flags. And there's some white supremacists and neo-Nazis. Well, there's a couple of white supremacists and neo-Nazi, but, it's not like, anybody there has called for, has supported Russia or shown up, and it's not like they used to pal around. Well, Jill Stein was, yeah, totally. I mean, it's not like everything she set up in her and they're slamming her, quote, so-called reporting. Everything she set up, he has to admit, is true. Why? Because the whole fucking rally was a dumpster fire, sociopathic plea for the rape victim to just lay back and take it because the noise is keeping them up and they need sleep. And Mate and I guess, I don't know why he wouldn't have been invited with Kurt. I guess they had to stay home and somebody had to stay home and hold down the fort while Jimmy used Kurt's jokes and milked other dead people's remarks to fill time while he was on stage. God damn. So anyways, I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the morning show. Still holding out hope I might have a special guest. Fingers crossed. Wish me luck. If not, I'll just see you for the regular morning and I'll just keep, being charming the whole time. And then, yeah. And I mean, the biggest thing I think we have to watch over the next little bit, and if we'll see this a bunch, is it's almost like I have to start I don't know if it's a fail tree for these guys, like a Christmas tree with just failure ornaments on it, where all these things, whether it be the price of eggs or the price of wood or gas or the fucking balloons or any of this stuff, where they're like, this is the end of the Biden administration train. The Biden administration doesn't give a rat fuck about anybody, and this is the turning point. We're going to turn this around and really everybody's going to blah, blah, blah. And then I swear to God, we're going to look back on all these things like all the other things over the last 2 years that we've made fun of, where everybody was like, oh, Jesus, if this happens, we're all doomed. And I'm telling you, we're not. And then we turn out not to be doomed. You're welcome. I'm just saying. So that said, I look forward to slaughtering more talking points for you tomorrow. And now I'm going to go back to trying to figure out what was wrong with my microphone at the beginning of the show so that doesn't happen again. And happy gay month whenever that is. For some of you, it's always gay month. And for others, it's never gay month. And so hopefully we can bring everybody together and meet in the middle, as long as it's not in the dark, because of, Dinesh D'Souza's biggest fear. Everyone's gay in the dark.